The rain was falling hard that night when Daniel Carter heard a soft knock on his door. As a single father raising his 7-year-old daughter Lily, he had learned to be careful about strangers. Life had taught him that kindness was important, but caution was necessary. When he opened the door, he saw a young woman standing on the porch. Her clothes were soaked from the rain, and she looked exhausted, like someone who had been walking for hours. "Please, I'm sorry to bother you," she said quietly. "My car broke down a few miles away. My phone is dead. I just need a place to sit until the storm slows down." Daniel hesitated. His daughter Lily peeked from behind the hallway wall, watching the stranger with curious eyes. Daniel looked back at the woman. She seemed sincere, but the world wasn't always safe. "You can come inside for a little while," he said carefully, stepping aside. "But listen, I need to be clear." She nodded nervously. Daniel took a deep breath and spoke firmly. "If you stay tonight, it's only because of the storm. Nothing else. I'm a single dad, and my daughter is here. I don't want any misunderstandings." For a moment, the woman simply stared at him. Then something unexpected happened. Her tired face softened, and a small, emotional smile appeared. "That's exactly why I knocked on your door," she said gently. Daniel frowned, confused. She looked toward little Lily standing in the hallway and whispered something that made Daniel completely speechless. "I knew this was the only house where a good man still lived." Daniel stood still, unsure how to respond to the woman's words. No one had called him a good man in a long time. Since his wife passed away 3 years earlier, most days had been a blur of work, parenting, and quiet exhaustion. He stepped aside and let the woman enter. "Come in before you freeze," he said. She walked in slowly, clearly grateful just to be out of the rain. Lily ran to the kitchen and returned with a small towel. "Here," Lily said proudly, handing it to her. The woman's eyes filled with emotion as she accepted it. "Thank you." Daniel watched the moment carefully. Lily had always been like that, kind, open, trusting. Sometimes he worried the world might hurt that kindness. "I'm Daniel," he said finally. "Emma," she replied softly. He offered her a seat at the small kitchen table while he made some tea. The house was simple but warm, filled with children's drawings taped to the refrigerator and toys scattered near the couch. Emma noticed them and smiled faintly. "You've done a good job raising her," she said. Daniel shrugged. "I'm trying." For a few minutes, the storm outside filled the silence. Rain tapped against the windows while thunder rolled in the distance. Then Lily asked the question children always ask. "Do you have a family?" Emma hesitated. Her smile faded slightly before she answered. "Not anymore." Daniel noticed the sadness in her voice but didn't push further. Instead, he placed a warm cup of tea in front of her. "Tonight," he said gently, "you're safe here." Emma looked down at the cup, her hands trembling slightly. Then she whispered something so unexpected that Daniel slowly sat down, realizing this storm had brought far more than just rain to his door. Emma stared into the warm cup of tea for a moment, as if gathering the courage to speak. The small kitchen felt quiet except for the sound of rain tapping against the windows. Finally, she looked up at Daniel. "I didn't just knock on your door because of the storm," she said softly. Daniel frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" Emma took a slow breath. "I've been walking for hours, but I actually passed several houses before yours." Daniel exchanged a quick glance with Lily, who was now sitting quietly beside him. "Why this one?" he asked. Emma looked around the room, the drawings on the fridge, the tiny shoes by the door, the warm light in the kitchen. "When I walked by earlier," she explained, "I saw you through the window helping your daughter with her homework." Daniel blinked, surprised. "You were laughing together," Emma continued. "It reminded me of something I lost." The room grew quiet again. Lily leaned forward with innocent curiosity. "Lost what?" Emma's eyes watered slightly, but she forced a gentle smile. "My little boy," she whispered. Daniel felt a sudden heaviness in his chest. He passed away last year, Emma continued quietly. After that, everything in my life seemed to fall apart. For a moment, none of them spoke. The rain outside seemed softer now, almost like the world itself was listening. Emma wiped a tear quickly, embarrassed. I'm sorry, she said. You didn't ask for my story? Daniel shook his head slowly. No, he replied. But maybe you needed someone to hear it. Lily slid her small chair closer to Emma and gently placed her tiny hand over Emma's. That simple gesture made Emma's eyes fill with tears again. In that moment, Daniel realized something powerful. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness could heal the deepest wounds. The kitchen remained quiet after Emma's words. The storm outside had begun to calm, but inside the small house, emotions were still heavy. Emma tried to smile, though tears still rested in her eyes. I didn't mean to bring sadness into your home, she said softly. Daniel shook his head immediately. You didn't, he replied. You just told the truth. Lily was still holding Emma's hand, her small fingers wrapped gently around it. Children often understood emotions in ways adults sometimes forgot. My teacher says when people are sad, they need a friend, Lily said seriously. Emma let out a quiet, emotional laugh. That's a very wise teacher. Daniel watched the moment quietly. Something about the way Emma looked at Lily reminded him of someone who had once loved deeply, and lost deeply. After a moment, Emma wiped her tears. I should probably leave once the rain stops, she said. You've already done more than enough. Daniel looked toward the window. The rain had slowed, but the streets were still dark and empty. You're not walking anywhere tonight, he said firmly. Emma looked surprised. But I don't want to cause trouble. You're not, Daniel interrupted calmly. There's a couch. It's safe here. For a moment, Emma didn't speak. Gratitude filled her expression, mixed with disbelief. Why are you helping me this much? She finally asked. Daniel leaned back in his chair, thinking carefully before answering. Because 3 years ago, he said quietly, when my wife passed away, a stranger helped me when I felt completely lost. Emma listened closely. Daniel gave a small smile. Sometimes life gives us a chance to return kindness. Emma lowered her eyes, deeply moved. But none of them knew that the greatest surprise of the night was still waiting to happen. The night grew quieter as the storm slowly faded. The rain had almost stopped, leaving only the soft sound of water dripping from the roof. Emma sat silently at the kitchen table, still absorbing Daniel's words. Sometimes life gives us a chance to return kindness. She had spent the last year feeling invisible to the world, as if grief had pushed her outside of everyone else's life. Yet in this small house, with a father and his daughter, something inside her heart felt lighter for the first time in months. Lily soon yawned loudly. Daniel smiled. All right, bedtime, kiddo. Lily hugged Emma before running toward her room. Good night, Emma, she said happily. Emma froze for a moment, clearly touched by the simple affection. Good night, sweetheart, she whispered. After Lily went to bed, Daniel prepared the couch with a blanket and pillow. You can rest here, he said. Tomorrow we'll figure out your car situation. Emma nodded gratefully. Thank you for trusting me. Daniel shrugged gently. Sometimes people just need a second chance to breathe. For a moment they both stood quietly. Then Emma reached into her small bag and pulled out something Daniel hadn't expected. A folded envelope. I wasn't planning to show this to anyone tonight, she said softly. Daniel looked confused as she handed it to him. Inside was a letter and a photo. The photo showed a little boy smiling beside Emma. My son, she explained. But when Daniel read the letter, his expression slowly changed from curiosity to complete shock. Because the letter revealed something neither of them could have imagined. The man who had unknowingly helped Emma tonight had just stepped into a story that would change both of their lives forever.